Hello and welcome to the United Stand. This is our Crystal Palace versus Manchester United Jose Mourinho press conference reaction, and I tell you what, it's a big reaction. This is big. This is one of his better press conferences in relation to reacting to news. It may not be the most pleasing one. I think there's been a bit of a meltdown on this. In fact, let me just, I don't even need to use my own words here. Look, this is more or less paraphrasing what Mourinho said when asked about Fellaini and the new contracts. We will talk about Zlatan, McTominay, what he thinks about second and fourth, and it not really mattering where you finish. But on Fellaini is still young. He'll be back for the Champions League quarter-final if we get there. I want him to stay. The club want him to stay. It's about what package he wants to stay. Effectively, what money we will pay Fellaini to make him stay. So Mourinho wants him to stay. We've known that. The club want him to stay. Fellaini's got Manchester United over a barrel, and it's about whether he can get more money out of us to stay. I mean, my interpretation of that instantly is go. You know, regardless of what Mourinho or the club think about him, go. You know, no player should be holding us to ransom. Certainly not a player like that. But in fairness to Fellaini, a lot of footballers and agents do that these days, so we shouldn't be afraid of that. Just some replies on Twitter. The banter team says Fellaini is young, ? Why the hell do we want him? I've seen my high school teacher do a better job in midfield, says Daniel John 02. Sher Gurang says we won't win the Premier League with players such as Fellaini. Officially the worst kept secret in the world. Mourinho can't function without him. The whole 650 million fan base know Fellaini is a fringe player, but Mourinho rates him as world class. I Rep My Glory says Jose Mourinho is such an outdated coach to think Fellaini still has something great to offer this team. Why does Mourinho want to keep him? He seems bent on keeping him. No top club would want him, says Bra Giggs. We're prioritising Blind, Fellaini and Young over Martial. Kill me, says Jack. Don't do that, Jack. Paul Stokes, let Fellaini go. He's rubbish and United shouldn't be chasing him to sign a new contract. It's embarrassing. AMR says just marry him already, Jose. Gaz says, I'm actually bewildered that we apparently are desperate to keep hold of a tree. And James Ramsey says he's 30. I think he might be 31 now. So a lot of people reacting to it, not very happy. I've got nothing to say. I've got nothing to say. I said last night I thought Fellaini would stay. I said last night that I don't understand why Mourinho's obsessed with him. I don't know why the club want to keep him. I don't understand it at all. It is bewildering. It is baffling. I agree with one of the comments there. Pochettino, Pep Guardiola, Klopp, they wouldn't let him past the bloody training gate, let alone on a training pitch, let alone anywhere near match day. They wouldn't let, and I suppose that leads into another thing. This is why I struggle and have to fight for Mourinho against the people in the live comments who don't want him here as manager. This is where I struggle to fight for him, because no other manager that plays decent football would go near Fellaini. And maybe this is indicative of the way the football Mourinho wants to play at Manchester United. That a player like that doesn't really fit the way Manchester United fans want Manchester United to play, he's bending over backwards and begging him to stay. And I think that sort of probably is irritating people on two levels. One level, that we're begging a player to stay, which we should never do unless they're someone like Ronaldo. And two, we're begging a player to stay that actually most people want to go because they're not the right sort of player for us. So quite sensational, publicly coming out yet again. How many times has he done that as well? What was it, 2 or 3 weeks ago? He said, I've told Fellaini to sign the contract while he's injured because we don't know how bad his injury is going to be. So basically saying, sign the contract now, because if your career's over, at least you get a load of money. I mean, weird obsession with Fellaini, but we're all aware of it and I understand it. He's not even like Zlatan of players who sells merchandise, says Tabish. Yeah, you don't see many kids walking around with Fellaini on their back, do you? Carl Van Blomsten says he's never been good enough and never will be. Just let him go. He'll have more United fans if he leaves rather than when he stays, says Akil. God. After Sir Alex Ferguson's retirement and the downfall we have now, I feel how important a good manager is for the team, says Ryan Noyd. He should stay, says Mawia Asparatus. He has potential. He's tall and very effective in high balls, but he's struggling right now. There you go, positivity. Mark Goins has made a contribution. We should get rid of the Phil Lynott lookalike. He's horrible and not worth the bother. Can't understand what Jose sees in him. Thanks for the contribution, Mark. I think that's pretty much how I feel about it, really. I mean, I'm a massive Mourinho fan, but I don't understand. I don't understand it. I was trying to think before I went live, how many times have previous Manchester United managers publicly begged a player to stay? I certainly remember with the famous Rooney Sir Alex Ferguson thing, when Sir Alex Ferguson publicly said that, we've done everything for the lad, but he wants to leave. I mean, that's Wayne Rooney. Was there something about Roy Keane as well? I remember Roy Keane was going to go and then he signed a new contract. But it is. I think it's amazing, and I think the word embarrassing is quite prevalent, because it is embarrassing, because every other club in the top 5 are laughing. They're like, they love calling us Park the Bus at Manchester United, and they're like, look at him, he's publicly begging a player, we wouldn't even let him the training ground. Hilarious. So other than being tired, I'm great, Rodney, says Andrew Southwark. That's great. Okay, let's move on from the Fellaini thing anyway, because there were other things said. The Zlatan development was very interesting. He said about Zlatan that Zlatan is not injured, he's just not ready. There was somebody who actually I saw on Twitter said, roughly interpreted, Zlatan's past it. We saw Zlatan come back in November for a little bit, and he looked way off the pace. I remember doing a couple of match reactions and saying he's just not fit. Why have we brought him back? And it's interesting that we tried to play him in November. We're now March, 4 months on, and he's not ready. Basically, Mourinho was saying, and it's very true about Zlatan, Zlatan's a champion, and I think he realises that he can't do it. If he plays at the moment, he's so far off the level he needs to be. It's embarrassing to the legacy of Zlatan. I'm a big fan of Zlatan. I was so happy when we signed him. I do want to see him running out for United again, but it's a concern, isn't it? He said that Mourinho said that they expect this to be Zlatan's final year at Manchester United. I just hope he can get a couple of games out for us towards the end of the season and finish. But I think, reading between the lines, Zlatan obviously doesn't want to play, even though he's not injured, because he's not at the level he needs to be. And I would question whether he can actually get back to that level now. It's sad, but he's 36. He's had a bad knee injury, and that looks like the injury and age has sort of caught up with him. But I'd love to see him back in a Manchester United shirt in some capacity. So we'll have to see. But Rodney Cyrus is right, and we said it at the time, didn't we, Rodney? He's been rushed back. They rushed him back too soon, and everybody's got a part to play in that, and it's a shame. It really is. But like I said, I'd love to see him get a couple of games. But this will be Zlatan's last season, and it's interesting. He's not injured. He's just not ready, and he may never be ready. Scott McTominay, Andrew Southwark's on about Scott McTominay. Scott McTominay, really, really encouraging sort of reveal about McTominay, because I think many people I think everybody wants McTominay to be a top player for Manchester United. I don't think there's any doubt there. He's come through the youth setup. That's what we want. I think the reservations have always been not really seen what he's all about yet, and I think there's a little bit of hype because he played okay against Sevilla and he played well in the second half against Chelsea, and everyone's now talking. I mean, even Mourinho, brilliant bit of response, because he was asked about England and Scotland fighting over who McTominay's going to play for, and Mourinho's answer was, well, I'm not aware of anything like that, but if he's performing for Manchester United, international football sort of takes care of itself. But what he did say is that McTominay's got a long way to go, and I liked that from Mourinho, because Mourinho's the one who's brought McTominay into the mindset of Manchester United fans in the first team, and there's been a bit of conflict there, which we've tried to sort of deal with it on the United stand, because people call you a McTominay hater because you say, I don't really see what his strength is yet. Obviously there is something. Carrick, Sir Alex Ferguson, Mourinho, all spoken glowingly of him, and I think we're going to see more and more development from him. But Mourinho coming out and saying, he's got ages to go yet, is a good grounder, because even when we were doing the Manchester United dream team for next season, you've got people saying we don't need Milankovic-Savic, we've got McTominay. And as I said yesterday, I think people are just it's almost Arsenal fan mentality. You're running before you can walk. It's unfair. It's unfair to say that Scott McTominay is going to be in our midfield three next season. I don't think if he is, brilliant, but it's unrealistic after two performances to go, oh yeah, we're sorted. That's never how players developed. If you look at even the class of '92, they Beckham and Scholes and Butts, they were playing games way before the season that they all played together and won the title as kids. They were playing before that, you know, here and there. It's not usual that a young player comes in and suddenly plays every week. But insight into McTominay's mentality, which was really good from Mourinho. He talked about he's obviously got the right people around him, i.e. his parents. His attitude is spot on. He's humble. He's intelligent, and he's eager to learn. And I think that impresses Mourinho, doesn't it? Because, you know, hangs around with the right people was used as well. And whether that's a slight dig at people like Pogba and Lingard and their social media activities, I don't know. But I think one thing for certain about McTominay is that his attitude, his application really impressed Mourinho, and that's a real positive. So I just think with him, it's patience, isn't it? You know, I think maybe 3 weeks ago he was playing, and even I was saying I can't see what he's all about. But I saw bits against Chelsea, especially that ball forward that Lukaku got onto to put the cross in for Lingard to win it. That sort of pass was very Michael Carrick-like, and not many people can do that. So we're starting to see those steps with McTominay, but I think it will be gradual. I don't think he'll be ready next season either. Just want to see him, you know, getting involved. He also spoke about second or fourth. So he was asked about, you know, what importance does Mourinho put on finishing second or fourth? And I was a bit worried where he was going with this for a minute, because he spoke about short gap between second and fifth at the moment. And he also said that, you know, finishing second or fourth, financially it makes no difference. Prestige, it makes no difference, because fourth, you don't have to do a qualifier now, you're straight into the Champions League. And it was sounding like it doesn't matter if we finish fourth. And I was like, oh, come on, hold on, we're Manchester United. We want to finish first. We've messed that up, but we've got to finish second. And I was like, I don't like this second or fourth, there's no difference nonsense, because there is. There's bragging rights. You know, second is better than third, third's better than fourth. But he did redeem himself towards the end when he did say that, you know, personally he wants to finish second because second's better than third. So that was a positive. What he also said was that if you listen to a lot of people, there's a short gap between second and fifth. But if you listen to what a lot of people are saying, there's three really good footballing teams and there's Manchester United. And he said that's not the reality. So basically, whether he's biting back at the press or even the fans, that he's saying, you know, everyone's on about, you know, let's take, for example, Spurs and Liverpool are better footballing teams than Manchester United, but that's not a reality. And I don't think in Mourinho's mind it is a reality. I think in his mind he feels that, you know, we're second in the league, and the reality is that we're as good as anybody else. And the factual essence of that is he's right. Are Liverpool and Spurs playing a better brand of football that Manchester United fans would like to see? Yes, I think that would be fair to say. Are Liverpool and Spurs better than Manchester United because the press have an agenda against Mourinho and United? Well, no, they're not. We're in second place at the moment, and you know, if you're in second place after 30 odd games in the Premier League, then you know you deserve to be where you deserve to be, and we're second. So it's interesting. I mean, I would call that a very mixed bag press conference from Mourinho. I think the McTominay thing was really nice to hear. The Zlatan thing was sad. It's sad that he's not injured and he's just not able to play at the moment because he's not able to get to the levels he was before the injury. The second and fourth thing, I think he's right. You know, we've got to go for second. But I think he's oblivious to the fact that other teams do play the sort of football that the fans want to see. But that's an ongoing issue for many. And then the Fellaini thing, as we started off with, I just think that is baffling. Absolutely baffling. But as I said last night, I think Fellaini will sign the contract. And that creates its own issues that, realistically, I don't think Mourinho gives a damn about. I really don't think he cares that 99 or 90% or 80% or whatever the figure is of United fans want Fellaini to go. And it's not about hate, it's not about disliking Fellaini, it's totally about the type of footballer he is. But that type of footballer is essential to the type of football that Mourinho wants to play. So Fellaini staying or going, I don't think it matters, because if Fellaini goes, he'll probably just go and buy somebody else like that, whoever that may be. What it is that Mourinho is desperate to keep that type of player, which probably means that he's desperate to keep playing the way he's always played, which is physical, grind-out result football. He is what he is, I suppose. But yeah, it's interesting. If we lose on Monday, Hassan, we will be in third place because Liverpool will beat Newcastle tomorrow. In fact, we'll be third place tomorrow night anyway, because Liverpool will beat Newcastle at Anfield. Let's win the Champions League for Zlatan, says Matteo7. Let's win it for the bloody fans. Come on, we'd love to win the Champions League. A top class midfield spot gone, says Tabish. If Fellaini signs, yeah, you're right, I suppose. Sign the contract, then sell him for 40 million, says Simpson. You've got no chance, mate. And do you think Jose is hinting that he wants to concentrate more on the Champions League, not the Premier League, says Miha? No, because he actually did say, quite frankly, in the press conference that the top four is the priority for Manchester United this season. That came out of his mouth. Brozan says that Mourinho is going to turn McTominay into Tony Kroos. Just wait, it'll be nice. Your thoughts on the Arsenal-Man City game, says Fab Mac. I did that on That's Football. I'm not talking about Arsenal here. Moon needs to start extending contracts. 60% of the squad expires in 2019. Well, he's apparently quite frustrated by that. Marco says Domino's or Pizza Hut. I think Domino's. Why is Jose so old-fashioned, says Mourinho Talks. I think Mourinho, as I've said before, he does what he's known. He does what he's successful with, and that's. People say, well, he's not evolving, he's not with it when it comes to modern day football. But, I don't know. I don't want to get dragged down too much. But I agree with Zed Jamie. He says, I wish the press would ask questions on Martial and how his form has dipped since the arrival of Sanchez. Yeah, why? Why won't anybody ask that sort of question? It is baffling, and in fact I'm going to put a tweet out to Simon Stone in the BBC, because he follows us, and I'm going to ask him next press conference, can you please ask that question, because it's the one many fans would like to see answered, and I'm sure there are other ones as well. Miha says, my thoughts about getting Ethan Hamilton in from the youth setup. Look, he's a young player. Let's see what he can do. But I did watch him play Liverpool at under 19 level the other week, and he was very, very poor. He's just very, very big, and that's probably why Mourinho likes him. But I haven't seen enough of him to know. You've got to trust Mourinho when he brings the youth through, haven't you? It's 1 AM in Australia, staying up just to watch you live. What did I miss, says Santiago Candreva. In a nutshell, Mourinho is begging Fellaini to stay. Zlatan is fit, not injured, but he's not able to play because he can't get to the standards he needs to. Mourinho wants to finish second, and McTominay's got a great attitude. That was effectively it. Anyway, we're back again at 8 o'clock tonight. I will be doing my predicted lineup, but this show is exclusively to talk about the press conference, and there was 2 or 3 real pearlers to get our teeth into there. So the 15 minutes has absolutely flown by. Thanks everyone for watching. Please do drop a like on the video. We are only on 200 likes, so please do drop a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. If you can see below the live comments, we're nearly at 199,000 subscribers, and then it's the countdown to 200,000, which obviously is massively symbolic. So please do drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and we're back tonight live at 8 o'clock. Lots and lots of additional things I want to talk about, and yeah, thanks everyone for watching. Really appreciate your reviews, because at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. Speak to you all at 8 o'clock. Thanks for can't get my words out. See you all soon. Snowing again.